Hello there and welcome to the Founders Day edition of The Pulse, coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We are also on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. You can get us on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV. It's channel 144. This is JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, President Akufo-Addo reiterates his resolve to revive the economy as he admits the country since independence has not lived up to expectations. Meanwhile, the president's party is also appealing to Ghanaians to support the president in reviving the economy. We'll hear more from the president as he is also announcing some special awards to frontline health workers and other individuals for their roles in shaping the destiny of the country. And a little later, we gear up for the second clinic of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair this weekend. We'll tell you about the DBS Industries roof and also some other environmentally friendly resistance products that they have. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. I am Blessed Sogah. Don't forget that The Pulse as well is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. This afternoon, we're streaming live on YouTube and all of our social media handles is at JoyNews on TV. Thanks for choosing us. Welcome. I'm confident we'll revive our economy. That's the assurance from President Akufo-Addo, who today rehashed the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the country's economy. Ghana is experiencing one of the worst economic downturns, a situation which has forced the government to seek help from the International Monetary Fund. Already, the president's political party, the New Patriotic Party, on the occasion of the Founders' Day today, is appealing to Ghanaians to support government in reviving the economy. So let's bring you excerpts of that statement released by the New Patriotic Party on that occasion. It starts off by talking about the fact that as the country marks another Founders' Day anniversary, the New Patriotic Party would like to first celebrate members of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society and the United Gold Coast Convention, which is the UGCC, apparently, and it's quite clear that it is one of the initial political establishments leading to our independence. Then they continue to say that the pioneering activism against colonial rule laid the foundation for the country's long journey to independence. Now, the selfless advocacy of J.E. Kesley Hayford, Dr. J.B. Dankwa, Power Grant, Emmanuel Bejebi Lamte, Edward Akufo-Addo, William Oforiatta, Akua J. Kwame Nkrumah, and several others culminated in the attainment of independence on March 6, 1957. Now, August 4 is indeed the most historic day in our struggle for nationhood. This day did not only witness the birth of the famous Aborigines Rights Protection Society, an important milestone in our march for nationhood and self-determination, but was also the day that the UGCC, the first political movement in the country, was founded. This political movement set the stage for the struggle for independence, as we're seeing from the New Patriotic Party. The NPP therefore takes this opportunity to appeal to Ghanaians to inculcate the spirit of patriotism and to support the efforts of government in reviving the country's economy following the devastating effects and impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian-Ukraine war on the global economy. Now, the party also entreats all Ghanaians to emulate that spirit of selfless patriotism of members of the Big Sis who suffered imprisonment, persecution, and harassment in their quest for a free and independent country. And it goes on to say that if we can boldly call ourselves Ghanaians, if we can vote and choose for ourselves leaders that we want, then we should know that others sacrificed for the freedom we enjoy today. The onus, therefore, lies on us to make that sacrifice in making our country a better place for our future generations and for ourselves. So, excerpts of the statement there by the governing New Patriotic Party. The president himself has been speaking at an official ceremony today to mark the Founders' Day. He is assuring that the NPP government will revive the economy.
One thing I continue to be proud of is the can-do spirit of the Ghanaian and our determination not to be bogged down by events and allow the circumstances and challenges of today to shape our collective future. The most recent of these challenges has been the COVID-19 pandemic, which has compromised the economic gains chalked in recent years. As a result of the pandemic, and its impact on the economy, things are not what we would like as far as the economy is concerned. They've been worsened even further by the effects of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Government has, however, outlined a series of measures, including seeking the assistance of the International Monetary Fund in the short term to help repair our finances. I am confident that we will revive and revitalize the economy and put our nation back on the path of rapid economic growth, a scenario we had become accustomed to in the last 3 immediate years before the pandemic struck. This is a solemn pledge I'm making to you. I remain resolutely optimistic about Ghana's future, which I continue to believe is bright.
There. Let me bring in Daniel Ochema-Boaji, former government spokesperson on finance, also a member of the New Patriotic Party. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Happy Founders Day to you as well. Your party has released that statement appealing to Ghanaians to support the government in reviving the economy. Many say it's beyond repairs. What's your take on that?
Well, let me say good afternoon to you and to your listeners and viewers, and of course to all Ghanaians and the president and his team. Obviously, that statement from the president or even from the FPP General Secretary is a profound one. Ghanaians actually give us their mandate. In fact, they've given it to us the second time, if you look at what we have now. And for that matter, if we're having challenges, which we do admit, we do have challenges, I think it is a step in the right direction to go back and say that, please work with us, support the government, help us. As our founders did so many years ago, that today we are celebrating Founders Day. So I think the call is a step in the right direction. After election, I keep saying, after election governance, we need to support the government from everywhere we can, do our best everywhere we find ourselves, and make sure that we are able to turn around the situation we have ourselves in right now, which we all do know that it's not caused by any government initiative per se. It is a global pandemic. It is the COVID, the Russia-Ukraine war, and maybe a few internal local issues, if you will, that have actually made us go through this difficult time.
Indeed, but many
like
argue
said,
that you've had the finest opportunity, even more than any successive government has had. The government which has availed, or has access to the, biggest funding ever in terms of reserves or whatever it is that you were, left with as a government. And yet, what we have seen is that you've depleted all of the funds that the country has. I'm sure that you've had all of these issues come up. And this time round,
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but yeah, the line was breaking.
No, I was just talking about the fact that you had the most funds as a government. Can you hear me now? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. I was talking about the fact that, your government has had access to, by far the largest funding in terms of government resources. So how come that you're still giving excuses as of now?
I don't think we are giving excuses. We are just telling you the situation as they are. And there's no doubt that this government has been given a lot. So did we also inherit a lot of problems, a lot of challenges. Look at what happened to the banking systems. A big problem. Look at Dumso. It's a big problem. High unemployment, youth unemployment, big problem. So the problems were huge. Even look at our roads. Even look at what we just discovered with COVID. So many districts do not have hospitals. So the problems we inherited are huge. Power crisis, financial crisis, energy crisis, unemployment, and many, many other issues compounded by these external factors, COVID and Russia-Ukraine war. These are not normal times. And so you have to understand that, yes, we came in, Yes, we got some resources. Yes, we borrowed money, but we have used money to also get us to where we are today. It's just that it's unfortunate that we had to deal with these external factors that is affecting our economy. And that's the president said, yes, we are going to the IMF for short-term support, but ultimately we have to fix the economy. The structure of the economy is not what we want. Ghana is a small, open economy that is dealing, or that is vulnerable to what happens to the world. While we eat, while we sleep, while we drive, everything is basically almost connected to the world. Even the exports that we have, things that give us money. You produce cocoa in a raw state, take it outside there. People can determine how much they give you. You produce the crude oil, what happens? You produce timber. All those things have to be sent outside to be processed. Why? After 100 years of cocoa farming, after 100 years of gold.
Yeah, but you promised us, your political party, I mean, this was the same political party that promised us that you are going to turn around the economy from taxation to production. It was part of your manifesto, wasn't it? So if you're still talking about these same problems, you haven't achieved anything, have you?
That's not the case. Unless you don't want to look at the numbers. Look at what happened prior to 2017. What are the numbers? What was the GDP growth rate? It was 3.4%. What was inflation? What was the borrowing rate in the bank? Even under NDC, they were borrowing at the rate of 32% from some commercial banks. These macroeconomic indicators had begun to turn around, right? They were going in the right direction until COVID hit. So it's not that we have not done anything. We've done a lot of things. Even as we speak today, in the middle of this crisis, I can tell you, there is no single government in the history of Ghana that has undertaken so many road projects than President Akufo-Addo. So we have a lot to show, both infrastructure, both developmental issues, and growing the economy. But for COVID and Russia-Ukraine war, MPP was doing so well.
Okay,
so
I'll take your thoughts on the external factors shortly, but your party is also appealing to Ghanaians to support government in reviving the economy. What type of help are you on the lookout from Ghanaians? What are you expecting of us? That we give you more money?
I think Ghanaians have to be patient. They have to support the government by supporting government initiatives. We need money to be able to do a number of things that we have to do. When we go to Parliament, we are asking the opposition to support government initiatives. If we have to borrow, support it. Let's go borrow. If you have to ask questions, no problems. It's okay. You can ask all the questions you want. But don't just go to Parliament and be fighting. Then just go to Parliament because you want to come to power, start propagating things that are not true. After election governance, let's put Ghana first.
So that's the type of support you're asking Ghanaians to give you?
So we are asking Ghanaians to support government policies. For instance, the government is asking for e-levy. We should all try and find ways to see how we can support. Even if you have to go back to the government and say, please, maybe the rate is higher, let's adjust it or something like that. Let's make sure that we are open and willing to pay e-levy. The government is asking for members of parliament who represent us to support government initiatives, right? Whatever the government brings to parliament for approval, it is before Ghanaians. We expect members of parliament, if it makes sense, to support those things so that together we go. But if you go to parliament, for instance, and start fighting each other, we are scaring the investors who will be taking their money away.
But I guess you're leaving one side of the argument, the focus on leadership. It's much more critical than any other thing, isn't it? What have we seen? We've seen your government turning us right back to the IMF. The same IMF you promised you were not taking us to. So why then should Ghanaians take you seriously when you say, support us, we'll deliver?
You know, when the Minister of Finance made the statement that we are not going to the IMF, unfortunately, many of you in the media have always played half of that tape. If you play the full tape, you realize that he also said, as long as we are willing to support the government. That, you never say those things. It was conditional on the fact that if we are willing to take up the responsibility to support ourselves, we may not have to go to IMF. By the way, we are going to IMF. We are not ashamed of going to IMF because these are under different circumstances compared to the previous one. If you want to do that politics. Under the previous one, we had to go to IMF because of mismanagement. Total mismanagement of the economy. In this case, you are aware, unless probably you don't live in the world, and I know you do, that the whole world, the entire universe, is hit by a global pandemic, which is COVID-19. We are not out of it yet. Just before we are gradually getting out of COVID, Russia and Ukraine were hit. And all kinds of things are happening. Fuel prices are going up, inflation is going up, and countries, many countries, even strong economies like the US, the UK, we are all suffering. So we can't just say that because we say we are not going to IMF, when we are going through troubles, we won't go. We are going for balance of payment support. It's a short-term measure. When the opportunity comes and we are able to take care of issues, trust me, we can get this country back on a positive.
Yeah, I tell you what, the president's own words, the president's own word at the time he was opposition leader comes up again. You were elected to fix the problem. He's been consistent with that, statement for quite some time now. He's now president, so it goes without saying that he was elected to fix the problem. So why is he not fixing the problem?
The president said some time ago that I was elected to fix the problems. He's not running away from the problems. No, he's not. I'm not sure if you can hear me. We are not, as a government, running away from the problems. Not at all.
Yeah, but you keep putting that, you keep placing the blame on COVID-19, the Russian-Ukrainian war. In fact, very recently, we've heard from the Russian embassy on some of the items that we import into our country. That balance has not been clear. So a lot is happening to our economy, which transcends the issue of the external vulnerabilities. You've been watching the figures as well, and I hope you concede that the facts speaks for itself, that it's not just about the COVID, it's not just about the Russian-Ukrainian war.
You are probably underestimating the nature of the Ghanaian problem, which is going to take more than even a decade to fix. There are fundamental problems with our economy. Fundamental in terms of the structure. And that's going to take some time. So if you want to look at it in any time horizon, you just have to look at the immediate term, probably the short term, if you wish, and then the medium, and then the long. Okay? So it's not going to just take us a year or two to fix this problem. We're trying to get ourselves out of it. Majority of the policies that we're pursuing were meant at tackling the fundamental structural problems, which has to do with making sure that we turn this economy around from just being raw material, or let's say basically exporting of raw material, to basically producing things and basically industrializing here in Ghana. And that's going to take some time.
Yeah,
it's not just going to happen in a day or two. It's going to take some time.
And the time you're talking about,
it begins. A journey of transformation begins with a step.
Yeah, but by the time you are talking about, in fact, from the last check from what it is that the finance minister has told us, he says he would need at least more than 2 years to deal with the problems facing this economy, 2.5 to be more precise. I mean, looking at that situation, the belief is Ghanaians may run out of patience and vote you out even before that 2.5 years expire. Daniel, well, it appears we're having some challenges with the connection to Daniel Ochemapwanchi, but the point well made there. Meanwhile, the president himself has been speaking about some more issues. In fact, he has disclosed that some special honors will be awarded to a number of identified groups that stood for the country in trying times. The national honors, as the president indicated, will also feature health officials who served as frontline workers in the wake of a surge in COVID-19 infections. We can listen to the president.
In helping to build the prosperous and progressive Ghana we seek, it is important that we recognize and honor the work and sacrifices made by some Ghanaians for the development of our nation. The 16th President of the United States of America, arguably America's greatest president, Abraham Lincoln, in an oft-cited quote, stated, and I quote, "A nation that does not honor its heroes will not long endure," unquote. I want to use this occasion to announce that I have honored certain citizens who have distinguished themselves in service to Mother Ghana, in particular for the roles they played in combating the COVID-19 pandemic, which helped preserve our population and won for our nation global praise. The formal ceremony when I confer the awards will take place at a later date.
There. Well, joining me on this conversation as well is David Tinkran Chum, General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. In fact, they are asking the president to also do more in terms of honoring their group. We'll talk about that shortly, David. But let me wrap up with you, Daniel Ochemambwaji. Your final words to Ghanaians as you're asking for support to turn things around.
Well, like I said, we need time. We need Ghanaian support. We need support of members of parliament and even the media, that Ghanaians should be patient with us, give us opportunity to just basically go back. And basically the policies are there already. I mean, the MPP has the policies. The media review budget has laid it all out. What we need to do to be able to go ahead and turn around the economy. We need time, we need support, we need Ghanaians to be patient. And once we have these things, trust me, we'll be able to turn the economy around again.
I'm grateful for your time here on The Pulse. David Tinkran Chum is General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives. David, it must be a great news for you hearing that at least there's something that the President is likely to do to some of your dedicated staff who are there fighting for the country in the wake of a surge in COVID-19 cases. How's the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association receiving this announcement?
Right. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. Indeed, my heart is gladdened, but despite the fact that the president did not mention the category of people that will be given the awards, it stands to reason that majority of the awards will go to nurses and midwives, because if we talk about frontliners, our members were almost everywhere, and therefore they deservedly needs to be awarded. But I don't want to preempt the situation. I believe that the president knows exactly the category of health workers that he'll be awarded.
In fact, in terms of honoring healthcare workers, the president years back announced some packages, special packages for your members as part of a way of rewarding you for serving in the front line. How far with some of these promises, and has the government, kept its words? I mean, the promises and some packages that were announced in terms of insurances against COVID-19. I recall the president announced some of these measures.
Well, exactly. I have no right to doubt the president. I have no reason to doubt the president, of course, the number one gentleman of the land. Previously, some few promises were made in respect to COVID allowances, insurance package for frontline health workers. Of course, some were fulfilled. For example, if you talk about the tax waivers that health workers were supposed to receive, almost every health worker received that tax waiver. Few things that's got to do with the insurance is still not being fulfilled, and we believe that the president will do what is necessary.
Help us understand that concern. What are some of the challenges with the insurance package that you were promised as a group?
You know, when the pandemic broke out, we approached the leadership of the ministry, for that matter, the minister. And I remember my president informed the minister that there was a need to put in place an insurance package. So that was headed to an insurance package was announced for all health workers. I mean, it was in various stages. For instance, if you got infected in line of duty, you were entitled to a certain package. If you ended up at ICU, you were entitled to a certain amount. And then, unfortunately, if you died, your relatives or your next of kin were supposed to be given a certain amount of money. So they were graduated in that order. What I can say is that the payment has been very difficult. None of our members who died have received the insurance package. We have made several attempts to knock the doors of the ministry, and that has not happened. I believe that having heard the president going further to give some awards to deserving people, they'll get in their strides to fulfill them.
Do you have a sense of the numbers? Probably some of your members who were affected in the line of duty and some who ended up at the ICU, as you're pointing out?
We forwarded the statistics, the numbers some time ago, but about 840 of our members, as of 1st of August 2021, have been infected. Few of them
so this package
has
not been paid as far back as 2021.
Yes, as far as the insurance is concerned, I told you that there were various packages.
So which means that there may even be a pile-on effect. I mean, from August till date, that's a significant time frame where, I mean, I'm sure obviously more of your members got infected, and the numbers may shoot up from the 800 that you're pointing out to.
840, yes, definitely. I mean, by all means, and even the death. As of August 2021, we had lost about 6 people. I think at the end of the year, up to January 2022, we had lost about 9 nurses and midwives, if my memory serves me right. But my information is that none of their relatives have ever received any insurance package to that effect. Not only nurses and midwives, even doctors. I remember I have friends, colleagues who were doctors. I mean, I ever worked with some of them at Trust Hospital, Hospital, who lost their lives in the course of duty to COVID-19, but never received any insurance package. As for the insurance, it's a problem. I told you that there were several packages that were announced.
Right.
Okay, the insurance, the 50% for frontline health workers, and then the tax waiver. The tax waiver was 100%. Everybody got it. The 50%, quite a number of the people who were entitled, who were designated as frontline health workers, also received it. But few others brought some complaint that despite the fact that their facility sent their names, they never received that package. And then where my emphasis on is the insurance package, which was supposed to go to those who were infected in line of duty. And mind you, in line of duty, you could be infected, in the course of pursuance of anything.
But I recall I recall that even at the time, aside the issue of the insurance, there were some issues with logistics and PPEs. Have these issues been
Initially, we had those challenges, and I remember I had a cost complaint on your network. But as time went on, the government was able to provide the necessary logistics that we needed to take care of our people. And if you remember, even locally, we started producing some PPEs, which we had to challenge the Food and Drug Board as to whether it could stand the test of time and it meets the WHO recommendations. But all in all, I believe that getting to the latter part of 2021, we had gotten enough logistics to be able to battle the disease.
So if you had an appeal to make to the president, what would that be?
Well, what I want to tell the president is that we are thankful for his goodwill towards health workers. And number 2, we haven't finished fighting the pandemic. Don't forget that there are other outbreaks dealing with small, monkeypox. We are dealing with Maybach disease. These are very deadly diseases. They should make the necessary logistics available so that nurses and midwives can have a respite whilst fighting the disease. We are ever ready to help in the nation building. We are not going to renege on our responsibility at all as nurses and midwives. But what is necessary should be provided so that our people can have the right frame of mind to be able to deliver.
Are we likely to see an engagement between yourself and that of your employers, perhaps through the Ghana Health Service? Because even beyond the issue of the insurance package, the PP and others, you are equally alarmed at the cost of living allowances. We've exceeded the deadline, the 31st. We know for sure that that amount hasn't been paid. I remember still taking that in good faith.
My president sent a team, which I was privileged to have led, to the Ministry of...
Hello, David. Okay, so David would definitely join us back briefly just to wrap up on that point of on the cost of living allowances. Mind you, the GRNMA was part of the association that equally raised some concerns asking government to pay the cost of living allowances, just together with the teacher unions and the public services workers union as well. But then we do understand that there are some delays in the disbursement of that amount, and MOU that was signed between the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations and Organised Labour. You recall that almost all the groups, including TUC, had threatened to lay down their tools, but for the last intervention that we, of course, witnessed from the high-powered delegation from government. So there was an agreement to release the funding to all of these groups. He's giving us indications that that amount was not paid. But as to what the nurses and midwives should do going forward, it's something that we'll keep an eye on and obviously bring you some updates on. Let's see if we have David Tinkranchum back on. David, if you can hear me, I was just asking about that meeting that you're about speaking of, that you led a delegation to seek some clarity on that payment. Tell us more about it.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Oh, too unfortunate there, but we'll definitely bring you some updates on that. Let's touch on education, because the latest investigative piece by Corruption Watch is revealing some widespread corruption and malpractices aimed at actually assisting candidates to cheat in the 2021 West Africa Senior High School Certificate Examination. In the following report, Frederick Isiama tells the story of how some senior high schools and authorities are actually engaged in the habit of racketeering. We'll tell you all about that shortly, but David Tinkranchum is back on with us. David, we lost you briefly. The point you were making about leading a delegation to obviously engage government on some of your concerns as a labor union. Okay, it appears that that's not happening anytime soon. But let's take you back to the issue of the West Africa examination and the fact that we're receiving some reports through JoyNews investigative piece that racketeering appears to be the order of the day. We can now watch and get to find out the details of what it is that is transpiring in the sector.
In July 2021, Corruption Watch received tip-offs about the intention of some schools and individuals to perpetrate examination malpractice during the 2021 West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WAEC. Consequently, in September, Corruption Watch investigative journalist Frederick Isiama set out to investigate the potential examination malpractices, paying special attention to orchestrated efforts by some school authorities to assist candidates to cheat at examination halls. At the All for Christ Senior High Technical School, our team established that the authorities in question set up several platforms on social media through which they circulated solutions to examination questions. This enabled invigilators to pass answers to the examination questions to candidates while examinations were in progress. The biggest of these cheating platforms set up by the school for invigilators is a WhatsApp page known as the Integrity Vibes. This page had over 80 participants, including this Corruption Watch investigator. They also used the page to inform invigilators about news and alerts from WAEC and other organizations such as the Africa Education Watch. On Wednesday, September 15, 2021, participants on the page took keen interest in the WAEC update that announced the rescheduling of papers of 2 courses and the listing of 11 schools for close monitoring. Later that day, one participant shared a voice note that discouraged teachers and students from answering questions posed by journalists who come probing into malpractices.
As at now, one thing you should know is that the media will start to ask questions. They will come to the schools. This is what you have to do. Never answer any question to any media. Do not conform to them. Do not make yourself available to answer any question. If you are being asked, tell them you have no idea. Did the paper leak? You don't know. All I want you to do now is just keep quiet, because the more you talk, the more you make the issue worse.
The first core papers that candidates wrote were English Language 2 and 1 papers, that is, the essay and objective papers, which were written on Monday, September 13, 2021. We captured some authorities of both All for Christ Senior High Technical School and Do High assistant candidates to answer questions. At Do High, candidates paid an unspecified amount of money before the start of the papers. A female student was assigned the responsibility of collecting the unspecified amount of money before the start of the English Language Paper 2 at 8:30 a.m. In return, candidates were allowed to share ideas. Moreover, teachers and invigilators assisted the candidates to answer questions in the comprehension and summary sections of English Language Paper 2.
Hey, do you also copy? Isn't it a sin? Are you not committing a sin? If you don't understand something, call me for help. Which question? Question 6, the II. It says she secured the support of a bank that loaned. There is a word there. It is LOANED. That loaned her some money. It is loan. Then you add yedi. Be fast. Write fast. Else, when the person comes, we'll see how you'll be able to write.
There was prior information to students that they had to make arrangements on their own for the essay section of the English Language Paper 2. This was the school's strategy for avoiding the detection of mass cheating. However, a female student did not follow instructions to hand over all extraneous materials after usage. She consequently implicated Maxwell Ama, a science tutor of the school, as the source of the material. A commotion followed.
If you have finished copying from your foreign material, hand it over. Don't make noise. Don't talk. Just give it to me. Someone has written something for you. As soon as I picked it, you said, Sir Max, let's see if next time someone will help you. I will not write something for you so that you expose me. You don't know the answer. Assuming you even paid me 1 billion cedis, do you have to mention my name? You said I took money from you. The person told me that you said you gave me money.
Well, excerpts of the Corruption Watch investigations there. Well, let me bring in now Reverend Victor Brew. He's the head of legal at WAEC, joining us now. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So, has this gotten to your notice at the organization, and what are we likely to see in the coming days in terms of dealing with some of these concerns?
Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers as well. I have come into contact with this video officially on the platform for the first time, on your platform officially. I heard about the video trending, and
Reverend Victor, we seem to be having some challenges hearing you. If you could just make the point one more time, so we can get you loud and clear.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I guess Okay, right. It looks like we're having challenges with the. Oh, okay. All right. So I think we are having challenges with the system. Okay. Oh,
Well, so what we'll try definitely to do is to get back to Reverend Victor Brew. He's head of legal at WAEC. And for those of you who are still with us here on the JoyNews channel, this is The Pulse. We're taking a very short break. When we return, we'll get you some reactions to what's happening to the West Africa certificate examination these days. And you're welcome back. Let's try and raise back Reverend Victor Brew, who's the head of legal at WAEC. Obviously, the Corruption Watch investigation is pointing out to some issues happening to the West Africa examination certificate. So thank you, sir, for coming back on the show. You were making a point earlier about how there's a challenge with your system. How are you solving that problem, really?
We have instituted a number of measures to deal with, such situations that have come up in times past. Really, we have always held a position that stamping out or stemming the tide of examination malpractice is a collective responsibility, and we welcome at any point in time organizations and individuals who would want to give us tip-offs and reports that would aid us or facilitate, stemming out this canker that is threatening the moral fiber of our society.
Yeah, but
and so this year, we have instituted a number of measures to ensure that those who operate rogue websites and those who have transformed themselves into a cartel in various schools to promote such nefarious activities don't have their way this year.
But practically speaking, can this issue be dealt with entirely?
Well, I mean, I told you earlier that this is a collective responsibility. And so this is not to take anything away from us, but to say that it's not a secret that, beyond pre-tertiary education, you have these issues of examination malpractice all over. We have decided that whatever it takes to make sure that examination malpractice is eliminated or minimized to the barest minimum, we will do. And so, as I told you earlier, this year, we are actually going to do something different that will frustrate the work of such miscreants who have decided or are determined to ensure that the examination malpractice is perpetrated.
But take us through some of the reforms we are likely to see from your end. Is there something more you're doing beyond going after these people? The concern is a lot of water has gone under the bridge, so perhaps you may want to be focused on the next exercise. But what measures will you institute to tackle some of these problems? Okay,
we are already started with education, exposing the modus operandi of these miscreants and informing the public to be wary of them. Actually, this year, just as we did in the BEC, we are going to do something unique that will make it very difficult to want to cheat. Something will happen in terms of the questions, and so it will be difficult for these miscreants to have their way this time around. In terms of security arrangements, we have actually beefed up security in our printing area. We have had National Investigation Bureau, that is formerly PNI. We have our own in-house security. We have the police, national security, all involved in guarding the printing and packing process. And so internally, we have beefed up security. And then externally, we have our underground security operatives who are feeding us with information. And so we are preparing this year to make sure that the efforts of these miscreants are frustrated. and that they don't achieve their goal.
How about the issue on technology to get the process itself? Because yes, you may secure the papers, but then when you enter the examination hall, that's an entirely different condition. So the introduction of cameras, for instance, were mooted some time ago. How far with that arrangement?
Yes, this is an ongoing process, and this has implications, resource implications. And we work with government in mobilizing resource to address such issues. So it's an ongoing matter. But last year, just to take your mind back a little, after the WAEC, there was a BEC, and we didn't hear anything about BEC, such stories. And so that tells you that after the WAEC, we would have gained some information that informed us regarding the way we handle the BEC. So I can assure you that the WAEC this year will be much better in terms of deployment of technology. Maybe we may not have the CCTV cameras for now, but then we will do better. And there are other measures which we are keeping close to our chest because of the issue of security. And I want to assure you that, God helping us, we should have a better WAEC than last year.
All right then. Thank you, Reverend Bu, for your time.
Thank you very much for having me
on the polls. Now, police have arrested 4 suspects involved in a robbery attack that led to the death of 2 people at Saman Tafo in the eastern region. Now, the robbers, numbering 7, attacked a gold buying company in the town on the 27th of May this year. They shot and killed a security man on duty and made away with an unspecified amount of money. While attempting to escape, the robbers shot another person who later died. Through sustained intelligence-led operation over the 9-week period, the Ghana Police Service apprehended some 4 suspects. They are Moro Sado, who was a suspect arrested on the 3rd of June in Kumasi. We also have Aliu Osmano, who was shot, who actually shot allegedly shot the person involved, and some 2 other persons who were arrested in the process. And the police is giving assurances that the remaining 3 members of the gang will be arrested and made to face the law. And expect JoyNews to bring you some updates as and when we have them. Okay, now 12 persons have been killed in an accident at a DJ on the Elmina Commander Junction Road in the central region. Now, according to the police, the 12 persons died when a Toyota Hiace bus with registration number WR134717 collided head-on with a DAF truck with registration number 2570. The dead include some 5 females and 7 males. Their bodies have been deposited at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital morgue for autopsy. Our correspondent, Richard Kojo-Nyako, has been speaking to the MCA for the area and now reports.
The cause of the accident was very horrible because apparently somebody had set fire close to the road and the smoke overtook everything, so the visibility was very poor. So I'm told that the trailer who was coming, and there was also a car from Cape Coast Lane going to Chakra, the Toyota Hiace. The Toyota was in its lane. Then this trailer tried to overtake a car before the trailer. Then they collided with the Toyota Hiace. And 12 persons lost their life and 1 is in a critical condition. So far, we've identified a driver as Kofi. And in all, 7 males and 5 females, 12, and 1 critical person is also a female who is at the Central Regional Hospital. As this accident has happened, we are appealing to the public. If you know a sister or a brother who traveled at that time from Kumasi to Takrade in a Toyota Hiace, you come to the intervention and you can be able to identify the body.
You are the MC for this area, the person who set the fire and made the smoke engulf the entire area. What is happening?
No, the police and the fire service are after the person. Investigation has already been commenced, and we'll bring the perpetrator to the book and make sure that the law deals with the person. Because it's sad. We've been telling, advising that you don't, decide to set fire anyhow, anytime, at your own convenience. That is not proper. They are laid down procedure. And this is a test case for us to make sure that whoever owns that land, whoever set the place ablaze as a result, this unfortunate didn't happen. We are going to deal with the person within the remit of the law.
Another bonus is to Regional Minister Kwesi Edu-Jan, as part of measures to promote tourism in the region, has been touring some abandoned tourist sites. The minister, together with regional officers of the Ghana Tourism Authority, visited the Tano Boase waterfalls, the Kunsu Slave Camp, and also the Kunsu Waterfalls. Kwesi Edu-Jan says their goal is to give the sites a facelift, which in turn would make the region a preferred destination for tourism, as well as improve the living standards of locals. And Sabit has more in this report.
Sources. Whilst the sector continues to become one of the leading contributors to economic activities and a major source of income for many countries, same cannot be said of Ghana, where several tourist attraction sites have been left to rot. Here in the Bunu East region, several of these potentials has been left idle and its benefits untapped for decades, with no immediate plans to revive the industry. To help change the status quo, the Bunu East Regional Minister, together with regional officers of the Ghana Tourism Authority, embarked on a tour of some of the abandoned sites in the region, and this includes the Kunsu Slave Market, the Kunsu Waterfalls, the Bunumansu Waterfalls, amongst others. Joseph Apieje is the Regional Director of the Ghana Tourism Authority.
I think, looking at the resources that we have, one person single-handed cannot develop all the attraction sites. I am greatly honored and I feel very excited for what I've seen today. Even though this is not the first time, but for the fact that Honorable Regional Minister has devoted his time to support us to embark on this trip, I think it's something that excites me most.
He, however, called on potential investors to partner the regional tourism authorities to help in the development of these tourist attraction sites.
My clarion call to all and sundry is the potential here is huge. Therefore, we are inviting everybody to come on board, to partner GTA and the entire community to put the place into a better place for tourists to visit.
The regional minister, Kwesi Edu-Jan, on his part, noted that the Kunsu slave market needs to be revamped as a means of improving the livelihood of the people, as well as help in the generation of income for the local assemblies.
Having traveled from Bunumansu to Kunsu at Bojama and then the slave camp, I have come to the realization that it's a place that I think some value must be added for us to unearth the tourist potentials that exist in this area. I'm even made to understand or to believe that the castles were built or fashioned after this, because looking at this and then looking at the castle, there seems to be no difference. The only difference is that this is not man-made, this is natural. So therefore, if we as a people put some investment in this area, we will not only create size, but will add excitement. It will generate revenue, it will increase the gross domestic product, and also increase the standard of living of the people.
With the road network linking Kunsu and the major cities in the region in a deplorable state, Mr. Edu-Jan disclosed that steps are far advanced to help improve the situation.
Already we have initiated, we have packaged the road from Ntankru to Kunsu. It's one of the routes that I have packaged, and this before the Minister for roads and highways. So it's one of the critical roles that the Borno East region have packaged. So we've taken steps already.
Mr. Edujan, however, called for the development of a framework capable of attracting private investors to help in the revamping processes. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kunsu.
And now, wooden trusses are mostly used in the house and construction industry to support a roof. But one of Ghana's top roofing companies, DBS Industries, is advocating the use of its steel trusses, which are a sustainable replacement for wood. Speaking to us ahead of the second mini clinic of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair, scheduled for this weekend at the West Hills Mall, Sales and Marketing Manager of DBS Industries, James Koroseno, touted the steel trusses as environmentally friendly, fire-resistant, and termite-proof.
Trusses, yes.
Yeah, can you tell us more about the trusses?
So, trusses, you know, nowadays getting wood has been very difficult, and the process that you go through before you even get a wood has to do with the forestry. So, we advise customers just to come to DBS so that we can give them that peace of mind by doing trusses for them.
Okay.
The reason is a very lightweight material which doesn't exert much weight on your building.
Okay.
When talking of light, someone will ask, but since it's a light material, then it means a wind or a storm can blow it off. It is well engineered, and we secure it or anchor to the building very well that when there's even a bigger storm, it won't fly off your roof.
Okay.
And in case there's a fire outbreak, your property or your building is protected, more or less like wood will eventually even burn. Yeah, and
the trusses, it doesn't burn?
No, it doesn't burn.
It's fireproof?
Yeah, it's fireproof.
Really?
It's fireproof, it's waterproof.
Oh, okay.
Good. And then we also give 50 years warranty on the trusses.
Okay.
Yeah, so aside the warranty, and one good thing about the trusses is it's movable and packable in the sense that after years, probably you'll be fed up with your existing building, so you will be probably thinking of a renovation.
Yeah.
So that's where you can, because of is we use screws and nuts, so you just have to unscrew it, pack them. Later, if there's a need for you to add on, you add on, then you redo the installation again. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's termite free. There's no way termites is going to attack your metal. Yeah.
What is this trusses? Can we see?
I think these are components of the trusses. Yes, this metal are or are just one component of the trusses. Yeah. I think the best thing they have to do is we have a very good team. We normally advise customers on time-to-time basis. So what they have to do is they just have to contact DBS, because I believe every building is unique. Every building is unique, so you can't. A building in Osu is different from a building at Polygono. So they just need to contact us, then we'll advise them accordingly. That's where our first request comes in. When you wanted to do a business with us, we assign a professional and a skilled estimator to your site to assess the property.
Okay.
So the assessment has to do, we do the assessment and we do the measurement as well at free.
And remember to be there because we have some exciting packages for you. So you need to be at the West Hills Mall from Friday to Sunday for the second clinic of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair. We'll indeed be expecting to see you there. Over now to some politics, and don't forget that the issue about the voters register has come up again. The Electoral Commission is giving an announcement and indications that there will be no voting for persons or prospective voters who do not possess the Ghana card. That is because the Ghana card will now be required for the continuous registration exercise. Well, yesterday I caught up with the Deputy Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Bosman Asari, who spoke to us about also an ongoing audit of political parties. Dr. Bosman Asari, thanks for talking to Joy News. We're just about 2 years away from the next general elections, which is happening in 2024. And some experts are of the opinion that this is a very opportune moment for you as the Electoral Commission to retreat, re-strategize and plan for the next exercise. What have you been up to as the Electoral Commission in readiness for that major elections which will happen in 2024?
Thank you, and let me say, as an institution, we appreciate the work of such bodies like Joy FM, JoyNews, and all the media houses in Ghana. You always give us the opportunity to be able to tell the good people of this country what we do as an institution and what we are doing. As you rightly pointed out, 2024 elections is maybe some 2 years away. I know many people would think it's very, very far, but I concede that Ghana has also become an elections country. We are always thinking about the next elections. And I remember as a student at the PhD level, one of the things I was introduced to as one of the main functions of politicians and especially members of parliament is to think about the next elections. So as an institution, we also think about the next elections. And the Electoral Commission, basically what we have been doing, we always strive to do better than the previous elections. And when you look at what happened in 2020, both international, domestic observers, even as well as the media locally and Ghanaians themselves who experienced the elections, concluded that this will go down as the best elections in our country. Nevertheless, we are still working hard to ensure that 2024 will even be much, much better. And if you remember, in 2020, the EU Observer Mission gave the Electoral Commission 95%. And the Electoral Commission even thought that we could have gotten everything. But nevertheless, again, 95% is very, very enviable for any institution to be giving such a mark. So as a commission, we are doing a lot of things. And one of the key things we have started us to do with very soon we'll be rolling out what we call the continuous registration of voters. You know, in 2020, we did this mass registration exercise where almost 17 million Ghanaians were registered, slightly over 17 million. And since then, we've not been able to add on to the register. So the Commission is rolling out a program so that hopefully by the end of this year, Ghanaians who did not register in 2020 and those who turned 18 years last year and this year and have not had the chance to register will also be given the chance to go ahead and register.
And we'll get into the details of that exercise because it's beginning to generate some concerns. But since you're talking about the last elections and the fact that it went well and you're planning to make it better, I'm sure that there are some activities that you are rolling out now, all aimed at sanitizing the system ahead of the 2024 elections. And part of that has got to do with the audit of the political parties that we have in the country. The last check from the website of the Electoral Commission points out that we have some 27 political parties. But the Commission is getting worried that some of these political parties just exist in names. For instance, the chairperson some weeks ago was talking about the fact that they need to be national in nature, and if they don't attain that posture, you're going to strike them off the record. How far with that exercise, and how many political parties are on the brink?
So far, the exercise has been concluded. But when you conclude such a major exercise, you need to have a report for the commissioners to look at it and come up with certain conclusions. Indeed, we had a team that went around the whole country, and at the national office, some of us even took part. The chairperson, myself, the deputy chairman of operation, we even went to some of the offices of the political parties. And the commission is currently looking at the report from the field. And based on the outcome of that particular exercise, the commission will have to make a determination. Because when you look at the law clearly states that political parties are supposed to meet certain requirements. For example, when you look at the district level, they are supposed to operate in 2/3 of the districts. And we expect that they will have regional, national offices. So as an institution which is supposed to ensure that the political parties conform according to the rules of our country and according to the democratic ethos, we are compelled to make sure that the right things are done. So I believe that the commission will look at the report critically and will make the findings available to Ghanaians. And when we come to the realization that clearly, based on the law, some parties are not meeting the requirements to exist as political parties, we may end up removing them from the list of political parties.
I'm sure that you on that trip yourself, so you have some first-hand information as to some of the observations that you've made personally on on that tour assessing the political parties. What are some of the worrying trends that you've identified with the interactions with some of these political parties?
No, clearly, Ghana doesn't have a state funding policy of political parties. And this is a country, when you look at the constitution, our constitution encourages multi-party democracy. And any constitution that encourages multi-party democracy, what it actually means is that you believe in the formation of several political parties. So the EC is very, very careful trying to balance. Because if you really want to apply the rule to the letter, maybe we may end up having only one or two political parties in
about going to that,
Ghana.
The duopoly between the NDC and the NPP.
So as an institution, we are also very mindful of what the Constitution requires of us. Constitution encourages multi-party democracy, plurality in our politics. So we must be very careful in having a balance in our system. However, it doesn't also mean that parties will just be existing in names, so that when you have an IPAC, they will just come, but you go to the district or the constituency level, they are not there. So at the highest level of the commission, we are looking at all this so that we'll come up with a clear framework which will say that because these parties don't meet criterion A or the following criteria, we are going to crack the whip and maybe give them some time to put their houses in order, or if they cannot do that, then they may end up being...
But the inference I'm getting also from your point is that finance appears to be a big challenge for, let me say, the lesser known political parties. Is that an admission on your side?
No, I think that, to have offices in all parts of the country, currently Ghana has 16 regions. We have the national capital, Accra is also there. Then we have almost 267 or so districts, and the constituencies are 275. Right. So if a smaller political party will have to rent, you are looking at over 300 locations, almost 300 locations to rent in these places. And averagely, if they are even supposed to pay, let's say, 5,000 in rent per year for each location, that's a lot of money. So I think it's also a major challenge which we have to look at. But you look at the size of a country like Ghana, maybe do we need all these political parties for a population of around almost 32 million? Yeah, do you need almost 30 political parties, or maybe some 8 political parties, some 10 political parties who are ready to meet the requirements should be allowed to operate without any impediment? So the commission will look at all that, but as an institution, we are committed to the constitution's multi-party democracy. Are you set to engage
the political parties on this once more before you come up with your findings?
Oh, usually, there are certain functions the Electoral Commission performs, and which require that we engage the political parties to do it. And for this particular function where you are in charge of cracking the whip, I don't know a situation whereby a teacher will be assessing the students to determine those who have passed and those who have not passed, and the teacher will engage the students to let them know why. No, obviously there should be a criteria which should be known by all, that you are supposed to meet A, B, C, and D. You are supposed to have a well-functioning district office, at least 2/3 of our districts. You are supposed to be having a functional regional, national office. Once those indicators are very clear, and before we embarked on the exercise, we wrote to the political parties to inform them that the EC will be going on the field to be able to check all this.
So if leadership of, for instance, some of these lesser-known political parties are listening now, how much time do they have on their hands to put their house in order, or perhaps the great spirit is over? Is that the case?
No, this is what I made the point that the commission will decide. Because as a commission, we are committed to multi-party democracy. That's what the constitution requires of us. So if it means clearly there are some people, when you give them the time, they will be able to put certain things in order so that they will be fully functioning. Why not? Because we don't think we want to get to the point where there will be only one political party, only 2 political parties. If we can have many political parties, that will be meeting the requirements. And currently we have many on our books, so we do expect that a number of them will be able to meet the requirement. Maybe we don't know the exact number now because the team is still finalizing the report, but I do expect that quite a number of them should be ready to function really as political parties.
Beyond the reforms in terms of auditing the political parties, very recently, the controversy surrounding voter registration has come up once more, and this time around it's coming from the minority in Parliament. They are claiming that the Electoral Commission is asking for some $80 million to compile a new voters register. For some Ghanaians, it's quite surprising that the Commission will be asking for more money when it just completed a new voter registration exercise before the 2020 elections. How true are these rumors, and what is the Electoral Commission seeking from Parliament?
No, there is no truth to that. The reason being that I got to hear of that in the news. I think I was listening to one of the media outlets, and the information came that they said the EC was going to compile a new register, and that the EC was going to Parliament to ensure that we will get about $80 million or so. And that was new to me, because I didn't know the institution I work with was even taking that decision. And for the sake of our audience, let me put it very bluntly that this is not true. The EC has never said anywhere that we will be compiling a new register and that we are going to require additional $80 million from Parliament to be able to do that. However, what the EC has been saying is that since the 2020 mass registration exercise, the EC has said we don't foresee us compiling a new voters register again. We don't foresee doing that again for many, many years to come. And that the EC recently has made it very clear that we are going to conduct what we call the continuous registration of voters. And what that continuous registration of voters actually implies is that now we have the register, we have over 17 million people who are registered, almost 17 million, 27,000 Ghanaians on our roll. Those numbers are intact, all their details are intact, and their information, biometric, all the information, the facial features, everything is intact. So what the Commission is going to do, hopefully by the end of this year, is to roll out the continuous. And the continuous basically means those who did not get the chance to register in 2020, although they had turned the age of 18, but they didn't get the chance, or they were not even in the country at the time of the registration. And for those who turned 18 after the registration exercise, I think the registration exercise ended somewhere in August, although we did some limited exercises after that. It ended that time. All those who turned 18, so let's say you turned 18 in September last year, November in 2020, right. September in 2020, and all those who turned 18 last year, and currently those who have turned 18 in this year, and those who are, as we are speaking now.
Right. So once you turn 18, you can go ahead.
And what we are basically saying is that people should just go and get their Ghana card. And that's the document we've sent to Parliament.
We'll talk about the issue about the Ghana card shortly, but on the claims that you're asking for fresh funding to compile a new register, even if you're not asking for the funds, you do agree that the continuous registration exercise will demand some resources?
No, it will not demand. The continuous registration exercise takes place at our district offices.
But that would certainly come.
No, it doesn't demand any cost, because we have the equipment already. The equipment for registration are there, and we have our officers on the ground. So it's part of our daily administrative work. So when you go to our district office now, let's look at Ayawaso West, Ayawaso, the constituency, right, where Legon. Right. When you go there now, we have a municipal officer, a deputy municipal officer. We have a secretary. And these three people are there to do that when we start. So
you're not recruiting additional personnel?
No, we are not recruiting additional personnel.
What did you lay in Parliament, and how is it the case that such a very well-organized groups of MPs would say, well, they are getting a sense that you're asking for more money to compile in your register?
You know, the Parliament has a committee called the Special Budget Committee. Right. And the Special Budget Committee, I see that committee as perhaps the single most important. All the committees are very important, but when it comes to financial issues, they handle that. And the EC is accountable to the Parliament of Ghana, but we do it directly through the Special Budget Committee. Usually when we will undertake such a major exercise, you go to them to explain to them that, oh, next year in 2023, this is what we are going to do. So we will require this amount of money. And they may end up pushing the Ministry of Finance to ensure that those funds are released. And last year we didn't do that. We didn't go to them that we'll be compiling a new voters register, which will require additional amount of money. So for the continuous, as I said, we have our staff in the office. It will not require. If even it will require, it means where we don't have the full complement. But as I speak now,
is that why you are asking for the 80 million, or there's no amount? There's no amount you are asking.
There's no amount we are
special
asking.
Budget.
About 80 million in Ghana cedis now will be about 400 and almost 500 million. And our budget for this year is not even up to 20% of that. So clearly there is no truth to that.
But what setting is that you would definitely go ahead with a continuous registration exercise? So what's going to be the requirement, and what are the timelines that you're dealing with?
Currently, we've sent the document, the CI, on the registration of voters to Parliament, and what the Commission, based on interactions with our political parties, as well as civil society. You know, IPAC is made up of the EC and political parties, but we have civil society organizations that have observer status. We had plenty discussions with them, and last year too, we had a meeting in one of the hotels of the political parties, civil society, for 2 days, and it was agreed that now that the Ghana card has made a lot of impact in our society. As we speak now, almost 17 million of our people, of Ghanaians, have registered for the Ghana card. So the Commission, in collaboration with our partners, took the decision that now let's have the Ghana card as the main requirement. So what this means is that as soon as you acquire your Ghana card with the continuous registration, you just go to our district office, the district where you are located. So let's say you reside in, let's say, Tema Central. As soon as you acquire your Ghana card, then you go to our office in Tema Central, then you go and register, then your name will be put on the roll of voters. Basically, that's what we are doing. And you know, the Ghana card is acquired at the age of 15 based on the information they put out there. Yeah. So what we are saying is that we should encourage people, go ahead and get your Ghana card. As soon as you turn 18, then you present it to the registration officer, and instantly you are going to be registered.
The Ghana card itself, you agree, and I'm sure that you're well aware of what's happening in the country with regards to, for instance, the SIM re-registration, where that piece of document is also being required. A lot of Ghanaians out there do not have the Ghana cards. So what timelines are you working with, and could it not be the case that some persons may be disenfranchised as a result of requiring the Ghana card for the continuous registration exercise?
No, as I pointed out, based on the information we have received indicates that almost 17 million people have registered. I think the last time, about 2-3 weeks ago, it was 16,900,000 and something. Right. And when you look at Ghana's population, we are looking at those who have attained the age of
18.
Those are the people who register to vote. And I made the point earlier that the Ghana card is acquired at the age of 15. Right. And this continuous registration, we are not registering all Ghanaians. Okay. We are only registering Ghanaians who have turned 18 since the last registration exercise. And when you look at what the experts tell us in terms of the numbers, the number of people who turn 18 every year will be about 400 to 550,000. So as we speak now, we are looking in a year, we are looking at almost about 900,000 or so people who have not registered. So we are not registering all Ghanaians in the continuous registration exercise. We are only registering those who didn't get the chance to register in 2020 and those who have turned 18 since the last registrations. And what we are saying is that acquire the Ghana card. And this exercise is continuous till the next elections. So, you know, next year we have the district level elections, which will probably be between maybe September to November, thereabout. So we are going to be registering Ghanaians from when we begin till that time. Then when we have the elections, then we come back again. So we have a space of almost 2 years or more. So what the Commission has put out there basically is that if everything goes according to plan, people should just be encouraged to get their Ghana card. As soon as you get it and the registration has started, then you go to your district office.
Why are you not open to other forms of national identification?
The Commission strongly believes that we have come of age as a country. You know, we've been in this business since '92. That's almost 30 years. We used to have what we call the guarantor system. But as an institution, we've realized that, and we've come to the conclusion that the guarantor system is fraught with a lot of irregularities. Because clearly you have situations where people will be fronting for people who are not 18 years. Then we end up going through a challenge process where it can even get to the court system. So what the Commission is now saying is that if we have a system that is considered a best practice, the Ghana card, and as we speak now, almost about of the adult population, maybe about 70–80% of them have acquired it. We still have a certain number, and we are only looking for about 450,000 people a year to be able to add on to it. Let's encourage them to go and get it. And that one, when you get the card and you come, it shows your age and everything. Right. So what we are saying is that will eliminate some of the challenges we are having in our democracy. And when you look at, I think the media, political parties, parliamentarians, all of us are interested in having a system that is very, very clean, that is very, very perfect. And what we are saying is that if we do this particular thing, and we have more years, let's push the Ghana National Identification Authority to make sure that registration centers are fully functioning. Let's encourage our people who have 10, 15, 16, 17 to go and get it. If you are 18, just go to the registration office and do it.
I was speaking to the General Secretary of the NDC some days ago, and he pointed out that, well, the party concedes that the Ghana card is very useful in that 2024 exercise. However, there appears to be some challenges with the guarantor system for the NI, the Ghana card itself, in terms of acquiring it for persons particularly who have been out of the country and may need someone to guarantee for them that indeed they are citizens. Looking at some of these bottlenecks with the Ghana card acquisition itself, is the EC not worried that some Ghanaians, some of our brothers who are in neighboring countries, may have a challenge going through that process successfully and eventually getting onto the electoral roll?
No, I think let me be very frank with you. Based on our assessment, we don't think this is supposed to be an issue. Because once you are a Ghanaian, the Ghana card has a requirement for you to be able to acquire. As you pointed out, some people can guarantee for you, a whole lot of things can be done for you to do. And what we are basically saying is that as an institution, the country has come of age. We've done this guarantor for almost 30 years now, and the problems keep repeating themselves. So if by God's grace, we now have a system which will show that these are people who are Ghanaians, why do we still want to do the same old thing? And these are the things, then political parties, these people are fighting each other, attacking each other, that somebody clearly is underage, and some people are trying to front for the person. And the election, the general elections is not this year. We still have, we are in August now, and this is, we are looking at December.
So you believe there's ample time to
we have ample time to be able to do it, and we are not registering all Ghanaians. So what we are saying is that, and you know, I made the point and I've been emphasizing, the card is acquired at the age of 15.
Right.
So those who are 15, 16, and we are going to register those who are 18. What prevents us from even as a country saying that let's give the preference to these individuals?
In fact, some people have
so that we can do that,
touting that process of trying to use the Ghana card for the continuous registration exercise. I recall the Vice President speaking a few days ago saying that it will solve a number of issues with the voter register and the electoral roll. The Vice President does not speak for the EC. So I just want to hear from you, as the Commission itself, what specific problem would the Ghana card resolve with our electoral roll?
I mentioned earlier that in 2020, for example, we had several people who are minors who registered, and they were subject to the challenge process. Some of them even ended up going to a magistrate, some of them even a high court. And clearly you could see these people were minors. So what the Commission is saying is that we don't go and get the primary data. There is an institution that has the capacity, that has been equipped to get the primary data of Ghanaians. Right. So anyone who wants to come and register with us and vote, just go to that institution, let them take you through their examination process. You are screened and they will issue you with the card. As soon as you get that, just come to us. No, the right to vote is so sacrosanct, it's so fundamental. You look at Article 42 of our Constitution. But we also recognize that there must be some rules in place. So the CI is basically saying that people should just get the Ghana card and come. And we, all of us, are interested in having a system that is very, very robust. A system that is very, very scientific, that is considered a best practice. And what we are saying is that with the numbers that have acquired, we just have to encourage the institution to continue to build on the successes.
So what problem will it solve for the East?
It will solve the problem we have with the guarantor system, where you have minors. People will be fronting for people who are not Ghanaians. they will come and register. People will be fronting for people who are 14 years. Clearly, you can see these people are in GSS1 and they are about 12, 13 years. Somebody will still insist that they are 18. And you have to go through a challenge process, get to the court, get education of a whole lot of committees to look at it. And so what the commission is saying is that with the growth of our democracy, what prevents us from telling people, go and get the card and come? Even when you have the card and you are coming to register, it doesn't mean you cannot be challenged. But what it means is that one hurdle has been crossed. Right. And it bodes well for our system. And this is a problem we think that it must be cured.
Even as we look ahead to the 2024 elections, there are some groups of Ghanaians who still feel that they've been disenfranchised in the last elections, which is the 2020 elections. So I'm not sure you are done and over with the previous exercise that you carried out. And that has got to do with the people of Santro Kofi, Akpafu and Lolobi. Their case, we understand, is in courts, but they claim they've not heard from the courts till date. And they've still been at your doorsteps asking you to intervene and either organize a new elections or find a way for them to vote for their MPs. What advice are you getting from your lawyers on what to do with the SAL, the Santro Kofi, Akpafu and Lolobi areas?
I think this is an issue. I think some people have been trying to blame the EC for why they did not vote for a member of parliament.
In the area.
Let's get the records clear. The Parliament of Ghana passed that district, the LI which created the district. Right. It passed somewhere on November 10th. We had the elections December 7th.
Yeah.
So the LI that created that particular district, it passed the parliament somewhere November 9th or November 10th, 2020. And they wrote to us, I think through either the Ministry of Local Government or Parliament itself, wrote to us to inform us. And when we got that letter, it was around either 13th or 14th. So when we got that letter, Parliament was even on recess. And once the LI created the SAR district, EC must now lay a new CI to create the constituency. How many days for you to lay for a CI to mature? 21 working days. Right. When Parliament is sitting, 21 days. So the time Parliament passed that district, the LI that created the district, and the time we received it, Parliament was even on. So no, anyone who blames the EC for why the people there did not vote for a member of Parliament just doesn't understand. The person doesn't get it. But the EC had nothing to do with it.
But the problem...
The blame should go to Parliament.
But the problem is still there.
No, the problem is still there because, by law, by our law, a member of Parliament, for presidential election, the whole Ghana is one constituency. Right. That's why they voted in the presidential election. But for the parliamentary, one MP cannot be voted for in two separate districts. Right. So December 7th, Hohoi was a district. December 7th, 2020, Hohoi was a district. Where Mr. Kofi Adams is also the member of Parliament.
Yeah, the Buem.
The Buem, also a district. The SAL was also a district. So the people of SAL, if they had voted for the MP for Buem, or they had voted for the MP for Hohoi, that would have been an illegality. I hope you consider that.
But that's why I'm asking about what your lawyers are telling you, because I'm sure that it's come to your attention.
The Commission has taken the steps.
The group says they've petitioned you as well.
No, the Commission has taken the steps.
So what's the resolution now? Would they have to wait until 2024? Is that the resolution now?
Per our laws, when it happens that way, I know it's the next election. Unless maybe the member of Parliament at a place has died, vacated, or something. But per law, I'm sure it's going to be the next election. The EC has taken the steps to be able to lay a CI to create that particular constituency, and a number of things are going on there.
So your message to constituents there is that they should wait until the
they'll vote in the next election as far as the law is concerned.
Some lawyers have also argued that we could just start afresh, organize fresh elections in the area for them to at least have the opportunity to cast their vote for an MP.
I think that one, the EC is a law-abiding institution. If somebody takes this issue to court, and the Supreme Court or any of the higher courts comes out with a ruling that the EC should go ahead and organize a fresh elections for them, we'll go ahead and do it. Well, the EC is a law-abiding institution, and the experts will tell you the law is what the Supreme Court says it is. So if in the wisdom of the court, we should go ahead and organize for them, the EC will go ahead and do it.
Let's touch on some more outstanding issues with the 2020 elections. We know that, for instance, the Asin North issue has come up, and quite some developments in recent times as well that is beginning to raise a lot of eyebrows as to whether or not the EC is prepared for such an exercise. The issue about the likelihood that some MPs may lose their seats in Parliament. Let's start first with Sarah Adwoa-Sarfo. The first Deputy Speaker has spoken. He believes that after missing the 15 days in Parliament, automatically the Clerk of Parliament is supposed to notify your office for you to organize fresh elections in the constituency. Are you able to confirm if Parliament has officially reaching to you, communicating to you that that seat is vacant or otherwise?
Let me start by saying that the EC has always been ready for by-elections.
For any by-election?
We have always been ready because it's part of our mandate to organize by-elections. So we have our structures in place. So if even in the wisdom of the courts or Parliament decides that about 50 of their members are resigning or they want to resign, and whether the EC is ready, we are always ready. And you mentioned the Honorable Adwoa-Sarfo. Right. We follow the news like I think ordinary Ghanaians also do. And as we speak now, we've not received any notification that a parliamentary seat is vacant, whether Asin North, Domi-Kwabinya, or any place, or Ayawa. So we've never received any information like that. But as an institution, we are working. People always think that we only work during elections. There are a lot of work.
That's been the long
no, we have a lot of work doing. We train our staff. We do a lot of capacity building, a lot of administrative things to do. So we are always ready. But as we speak now, there is nothing on our table to indicate that a seat is
Do you
vacant.
feel that you have the locus to decide whether or not the Domi-Kwabinya seat, for instance, is vacant? Do you feel you have some locus into that?
You see, we don't have any locus on that. The EC is an impartial institution, an independent institution who has a mandate.
But you said you were law-abiding as well. The first Deputy Speaker says, well, the clerk is supposed to notify you so that you go ahead with
based on what the first Deputy Speaker said, that means if the clerk has not notified us, the EC cannot jump the gun and say, people are saying somebody should resign, so we are also joining the bandwagon. The Parliament works through rules, so there are processes. So if Parliament writes to us that, this seat is vacant and this and that must be done, we are ready. We are law-abiding, that's what I said.
How about the Asin North situation?
The Asin North, I understand the court processes are ongoing. And we've not received any green light from our lawyers to indicate that we should go ahead and prepare anything. But I mentioned earlier that the EC has always been ready because we know that it's part of our mandate to organize by-elections when they occur. But our lawyers haven't given us any indication to that effect. And Parliament has not also written to us to indicate that Asin North or any other place is vacant and that we should go ahead and organize elections there. We have not received that.
There was a lot of tension even after the 2020 general elections. Some political parties did not get the chance at winning the election, and they had some concerns with the EC and your posture as well. Part of that group has got to do with the National Democratic Congress. They believe that even till date, consensus has not been as strong as it used to be in the past. The General Secretary of the party telling me some weeks ago that the sole platform you have, which is the IPAC, the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, which hitherto used to be that platform where you dialogue on issues, is no longer the case. He says it's become an information center, to just paraphrase what it is that he told me. Why is the EC not allowing itself and opening up to listen to the political parties in terms of planning for the 2024 elections?
You know, one thing we need to point out is that politicians always have colloquially, they have what I call, they have a wonkish desire for partisan politics. So they can say things and clearly you know that's not what is actually happening. And I think they say things, I don't even think they mean it. Because when you talk about consensus, the last time I checked the meaning of consensus doesn't mean 100%. there is consensus and there is unanimity.
Okay.
When you are saying unanimous, it's like everyone is on the same page. You pointed out IPAC has several political parties, about 27, but we know about 12 of them have regularly been attending the meetings. And IPAC, the EC officials are there. Apart from the EC official, we have civil society organizations, and you are a media person, you can engage the civil society organizations that attend IPAC. And I know the National Peace Council, we have some development partners who also attend IPAC. And I don't think it's my mission to defend what the EC does there. You can engage the smaller political parties who come.
But we also have seen some spectacles even in the heat of the 2020 elections. The chairperson having some exchanges with, for instance, the General Secretary of the NDC. And you can always catch a repeat of that interaction with Dr. Bosman Asare online and on our website at myjoyonline.com. But that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. And bless us on our next.